All right, now it's time to learn how to actually code. So if you go back into Schoology and open up the very next assignment, the very next number in the list, it will be this assignment here. Please pause this and make a copy of this. You can do it! Now that you've made a copy of it, if you scroll down, because my example, I'm not actually going to do this in my example. That's going to be your assignment. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit and show you this link here. If we click on that link, it opens up our reference file. This shows you all of the different G codes, miscellaneous codes, frequently used characters, all these things. And I'm going to show you some of the most common ones that we're going to end up using. And we are in this practice one, we're going to do a B, just because. And so I'm going to show you how to code this. So in Absolute, the first thing we need to do is, I just drew this image. You're going to do the same on a piece of graph paper like this for something you want to code. And in Absolute, you need to know all the coordinates of every single point, including the center points of your arcs. So if you look at this one, I go from B to C, and that is an arc with a radius of 0.2 all the way around. It's 0.2. You need to make sure that you know the exact center point and you stay at that exact radius the entire time. Otherwise, you're going to get some errors. So I have these as my points. Let's go ahead and get started on this. You can follow along and actually type in your document for these first few lines, but obviously once we get to point A, your point A for your assignment is different than my point A up here. So at that point, you'll just need to hold off. So the first thing we need to do is we're always going to start with a numbering system that is N00, and I'm going to go up by twos. So I'm going to go N00, N02, N04, and so on. And let's go back up to line 1. I need to type in the G code for absolute coordinates to tell the mill that we're milling in absolute coordinates. So I go back to my reference sheet, and it looks like G90 is absolute coordinates. So I just type in G90. So this is just going to be a little fill in the blank to start. The next thing is inch mode. So inch mode is G20. If you want to do millimeter mode, it's G21, which we're not going to do. So G20, I put that in my second line. Now I want to turn the spindle on clockwise and set the speed to 5,500. Well, it always moves clockwise, so that's not going to be an issue. But to turn the mill on, it says spindle motor on is MO3, and to set the speed, that's an S. So we do that as MO3 and S 5,500. And I know that because right up here, it gives me all of my information. So my spindle speed is 5,500. So we're going to take a minute and explain one of these things. Your safe position, when you have your yo-yo, your engraver bit is always going to be at 0.1 inches, a tenth of an inch above that material before you start. You have to make sure that that's the case, right in the dead center at 0.1 inches above. That's where we start. That's our safe position. So we are double checking that. So we're going to say rapid move spindle to 0.1 above the part. Well, it should be there already, but we're doing this just to verify and make sure. So we go N06. Now to rapid move, my G code for that is rapid traverse. That's just moving as fast as the mill will run. And we can do that because we are above the material. If you're cutting, you never want to rapid move. So I'm going to rapid move at Z.1. Now I'm going to rapid to above point A. So I started here above, and now I'm just going to move over to where point A is. And since I'm above the material at a safe position of 0.1, I can leave it at G00. I can rapid move. So let me type my block number in. And point A, so this is the time where you're going to deviate. You're not going to do the same thing I'm doing because your point A is different than my point A. So I'm going to go to point A, which is negative 0.2, 0.4. Those are my coordinates. So I just type in X negative 0.2, Y 0.4. And now I am above point A. The next thing I need to do is I'm actually going to plunge into the material. So I'm going to drop my Z-axis. But I don't want to rapid, I want to plunge at 10 inches per minute. That's a safe plunge. And I know that because it tells me right up here my plunge rate and my feed rate. So let's go N10. And if I want to go at a specific rate, then I have to pick G01. That's linear interpolation, go in a straight line at a given feed rate. That's what I want. I want a feed rate of 10. So this is going to be G01, and I have my feed rate of 10, and my Z is Z minus 0.03. It's really important that you keep this as 300ths. If you do Z minus 0.3, you're going to destroy the mill and break the universe. So leave it at minus 0.03. Now, I've actually plunged into the material at A. Well, the next thing I need to do is go to point B. So let's look where B is. B is at coordinate 0.4. So I'm going to do an N12, it remembers I'm going in a straight line, that's G01, but now I can move at a feed rate of 20. So I'm going to change this to F20. And my coordinates, again, for point B were 0 and 0.4. So I'll do x0, y, 0.4. Now I go to point C, but point C is circular. If I go to point C, I'm going in a clockwise motion around D, which is my center point. So let's first change my G code to clockwise, and I'll go to point C, which is 0, 0. So clockwise is G02. So I got to change my G code to G02, and I'm going to X0, Y0. But now I need an I and a J to represent the X and Y coordinates of my center point. So where is my center point? Well, it's D, and D coordinates are 0, 2. So my I is 0, my J is 0.2. I should have said point there. And so I have I0, J, 0.2. So I'll go back and I'll type I0, J, 0.2. Going circular usually is the most confusing piece. So if you're not sure about that, pause that, have me come over and I can help explain that. Let's continue on. I'm going to continue to go circular because I ended at C, but now I'm going to go clockwise again to F. So F is x0, y negative 0.4, x0, y negative 0.4, and I don't need to retype G02. It remembers your last G code. And now I need my I and J. That's the coordinates of the center point. So the center point is 0, negative 0.2. That's the E. So I go to I0, J, negative 0.2. And then I'm at F. I want to go to G. That is linear. That's a straight line. So remember, G01 is a straight line. So I go N18, G01, and I didn't get the coordinates of that. G is negative 0.2, negative 0.4. So I have X, negative 0.2, y, negative 0.4. And the last thing is I need to go back to where I started, so I close the loop. So I'm at G, and I want to go all the way up to A. And A is negative 0.2, 0.4. So I type in X, negative 0.2, y, 0.4. And that takes me back to my last point A. So it looks like I have a few extra lines in here, so I'm actually going to highlight these and delete these extra lines, delete those extra 4 rows. Now I need to raise the spindle. So once you've finished milling out your cool little pattern, like this neat little snowflake here, then you want to raise the spindle to a safe position, which is Z.1. So I have N22, and I'm going to move it up to Z.1. Then I'm going to stop the spindle. So the code for stopping the spindle or turning the motor off is M05. So we will go to our M column, which is this one here, M05. That stops the spindle. I have that in the wrong spot there, M05. On this line, I'm going to put my new block number. And block number N26, I'm going to clear the arm. So it's raised above, but now it's going to be hard to unclamp this and get this out of the way. So I'm going to actually move the spindle X1, Y1, Z1, and that will get it up and out of the way. And I can do that rapid, as fast as the machine can go, so I can do that at G00, X1, Y1, Z1. And to stop the program is my last block of code. To stop the program, it is a M02. That's end program right here. So I can M02 that, and that's it. So now that's an example of how you do my practice image. What I want you to do for your assignment is you're going to go back up and you're going to code in this practice image. A lot of your initial starting blocks are going to be the same, and your ending blocks are going to be the same, but when you go to those exact points, you're going to have to use your exact coordinates. So go ahead and give that a try.